Have you ever felt like the world was conspiring against you, like every step forward was met with a force pushing you 2 steps back? It's as though there's a hidden hand in the shadows, pulling the strings, manipulating events to lead you toward your downfall. But here's the truth. What they don't realize is that the universe has its own laws, its own justice, and sooner or later, those who seek to destroy you will face the consequences of their actions. I want to take you back to a time when I too felt like I was the target of a cruel game. People who I once trusted, people I thought were my friends, began to show their true colors. They whispered behind my back, planted doubts in my mind, and turned others against me, all with the goal of undermining everything I'd worked for. At first, it was subtle. A rumor here, a lie there. But soon, the web they wove grew thicker and harder to ignore. I remember the first time I realized something wasn't right. I had just received some incredible news that could have changed my life forever, and yet, within hours, I was met with obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. Things began to feel like a bad dream, like every door I tried to open had been locked on the other side. The more I pushed, the harder it became. But what I didn't know at that time was that these forces, these people, were trying to break me. And here's where the story gets interesting. The more they tried to control me, to manipulate me into silence, the more they revealed their own weaknesses. The universe, in its mysterious ways, began to show me that nothing, no matter how well hidden, stays in the dark forever. Every lie they told, every betrayal they enacted, would eventually come to light. This was the beginning of my awakening, a realization that the universe works in ways we may never fully understand, but always for balance. It wasn't just the betrayals that became apparent, it was the cosmic law that was at work. The same forces that were pushing against me were unknowingly building the foundation for my rise. The truth they tried so hard to suppress began to push through like the sun breaking through a storm. And in the end, those who thought they controlled the narrative found themselves exposed, unraveling, and struggling to hold onto the very fabric of their lies. It's not just a personal story, it's a universal truth. No matter how deep the darkness, the light always finds a way to shine through. No matter how intricate the web of deceit, it will eventually fall apart. And when it does, the justice that follows is cosmic, powerful, and unstoppable. The cosmic law, the balance of the universe. Let's talk about balance. The universe, as mysterious and unpredictable as it can be, operates under certain laws that govern everything, from the way the stars align to the very lives we live. One of those laws is the principle of balance. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Everything you put into the world, every intention, every word, every action, eventually finds its way back to you. Now, think back to a time when something felt off. You might have been on the receiving end of an injustice, a betrayal, or a cruel act. It's easy to feel like the world has turned against you and wonder if the universe has forgotten about you. But here's the secret. The universe never forgets. It's simply biding its time, waiting for the right moment to bring things back into balance. I remember a time when I felt like I had been abandoned. A betrayal hit me hard, and I was left questioning everything, my friends, my values, even my purpose. It seemed like everything I worked for was falling apart, and no matter how hard I tried to fix it, the universe seemed to be against me. I felt small, helpless, and lost. But little did I know, something much bigger than I could comprehend was at play. I had to trust that the universe was not punishing me, but rather preparing me for something greater. This concept of balance is critical in understanding how the universe works. The people who wronged you, the ones who manipulated, deceived, or tried to destroy you, they too are bound by this cosmic law. Their actions, no matter how hidden, will eventually catch up with them. The lies they've told, the games they've played, and the hurt they've caused will be balanced out in ways that they cannot control. And just as it is true for them, it is equally true for you. For every moment they tried to tear you down, the universe was working to build you up. Every time you were knocked down, the universe was preparing you for a stronger rise. And when the truth comes to light, as it always does, it brings with it a deep and beautiful sense of cosmic justice. The universe isn't just a passive force, It's actively working to restore harmony. And once balance is achieved, it's unshakable. When you start to understand this law, when you see the patterns in your life, you'll realize that everything is happening for a reason. The setbacks, they're not punishments. The betrayals, they're lessons. And the rise from the ashes, that's your true power. You don't need to chase revenge or seek retribution, because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, is already working on your behalf. The web of deceit, how far they went to destroy you. Now, let's take a deeper look into the web of deceit. There's no denying it. People can go to extraordinary lengths to bring others down. The manipulation is not always obvious at first. It starts small, maybe a harmless rumor, a false accusation, or an offhand comment that plants a seed of doubt. But over time, that seed grows, nurtured by lies and betrayal, into something far more destructive. I remember when the manipulation first started. It was subtle, almost imperceptible at first. A comment made in passing, a certain look exchanged when I wasn't around, a sudden shift in behavior. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But soon, I realized that something much larger was at play. It was no longer just a small misunderstanding. It was a carefully crafted campaign designed to isolate me, to tear down my credibility, and to ruin my life. The deeper I looked, the more I uncovered. Behind every false accusation, behind every whispered rumor, behind every orchestrated accidental event, there was a pattern. These people, the ones I once called friends or family, were working together to take me down. And I wasn't the only one. They had done it before, and they would do it again. It wasn't just about one bad event. It was a coordinated attack. Every move was calculated. They would isolate me, turn people against me, create doubt where there was none, and manipulate situations to their advantage. Every conversation was rehearsed, every action strategically planned to cause maximum damage. At first, it was terrifying to face the full scale of their efforts. But soon, I realized something powerful. They were scared. You see, the more they worked against me, the more I realized how much they feared me. It wasn't just about the lies. They were trying to destroy my very essence, to eliminate any chance of me succeeding. Why? Because they knew deep down that I was unstoppable. They saw something in me that they couldn't control, and so they tried to break me. But in doing so, they revealed their own weakness. The deeper I went into their schemes, the more I realized just how far they were willing to go. They had planned everything meticulously. The betrayal was no accident, it was deliberate. Every detail was designed to ensure that I would fall. But what they didn't understand was that the harder they tried to destroy me, the stronger I became. Their web of deceit wasn't a prison, it was the very thing that would lead to their downfall. And here's the kicker. As much as they plotted and planned, they never accounted for one thing: truth. The truth is unstoppable. No matter how tightly they tried to weave their web, no matter how many people they manipulated, no matter how many lies they told, the truth always finds its way to the surface. It might take time, it might take a struggle, but eventually the truth will come out. And when it does, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop it. Deceivers fall, the inevitable collapse. It's often said that a house built on lies will eventually crumble. You may not notice it at first. The cracks in the foundation are small, hidden behind walls of deceit, but every lie, every manipulative act weakens the structure. And then one day, it all falls apart. This is what happens when people build their lives on deception, when they try to control others through lies and manipulation. It might feel like they're winning at first, but deep down, they know they're playing a dangerous game, one that will eventually turn against them. I remember the first time I saw the shift. It wasn't an obvious change, but something in their behavior gave it away. The confidence they once wore like armor began to crack. They tried to keep up the illusion, but I could see the desperation in their eyes. There was a tremor in their voice when they spoke. They began to make mistakes, small ones at first. They didn't notice, but I did. The lies they told no longer held the same weight. The manipulation was clumsy, more transparent than it had ever been before. And that's when I realized their fall was inevitable. You see, people who operate in the shadows, who manipulate others for their own gain, they might win a battle or two, but they can never win the war. Their actions are recorded, not just in the material world, but in a far deeper, more significant place. Whether it's the energy they put out into the universe or the karma they accumulate over time, there's always a price to pay. The universe has a way of keeping score, and sooner or later, those who deceive will find themselves exposed. I'd like you to think about the people in your life who have tried to deceive you, who have worked behind your back to undermine you. At first, they might have seemed untouchable, confident in their power, knowing they had the upper hand. But with each lie, they sowed the seeds of their own downfall. They never realized how fragile their power truly was. They never saw the cracks in the facade. But I saw them, and I knew it was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down. As the truth began to surface, so did their mistakes. The lies they told, the stories they carefully crafted to maintain their control, began to fall apart. Their supporters started questioning them. The people they had manipulated, isolated, and deceived began to see the inconsistencies in their stories. People who had once been loyal to them started pulling away, noticing the holes in their narrative. And with every person who stepped away, with every falsehood that unraveled, their house of cards collapsed a little bit more. It's a strange thing, watching people who once seemed so powerful lose control. But it's also deeply satisfying. There's something powerful in seeing the truth rise, and seeing those who thought they were untouchable suddenly face the consequences of their actions. When they've been so sure of their deception, so confident that they could manipulate the world around them, and then it all comes crashing down. That's when you know the universe has its own way of working things out. It's almost like watching a slow-motion disaster. Each moment of their fall becomes more apparent, more inevitable. And no matter how much they try to scramble, no matter how much they try to cover up their mistakes, it's too late. Their lies have been exposed, and there's no hiding from the truth now. The deception that once worked so well is now their undoing. It's no longer in their hands. The universe is balancing the scales, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. The revelations, how everything will be exposed. There's a certain power in revelation. The moment when everything hidden comes to light, when the truth floods into the room, and the lies that have long been whispered in the dark are finally exposed for everyone to see. It's a powerful moment, and it's one that can't be avoided. For every secret, for every manipulation, there is a moment of reckoning, a time when everything comes out, and the universe demands accountability. I remember the day I found out the full extent of the lies that had been woven around me. It wasn't one single event. It was a series of small realizations that came together like pieces of a puzzle. Each new discovery was like a piece of the mask falling away, until finally, the full picture was clear. And what I saw shocked me. It wasn't just that they had lied. It was that they had been so meticulously careful in their deceit, trying to keep their actions hidden. They had worked hard to make sure I never saw the truth, to keep me in the dark. But the truth, no matter how carefully hidden, has a way of emerging. It's like a seed planted in the soil. It might take time, but eventually it will break through. And when it does, there's nothing that can stop it. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that these manipulations weren't random. They were part of a coordinated effort. Every lie, every act of betrayal, every false narrative was a piece of the larger conspiracy to destroy me. And then, when I least expected it, the revelations began to pour in. A conversation here, a document there, a small but crucial piece of evidence that connected everything together. And with each new piece, the web of deceit became clearer. They had underestimated me. They thought they could control the narrative, keep the truth buried. But the universe had other plans. It had its own way of bringing the truth to the surface. I know this might sound familiar to some of you. Maybe you've been in a similar situation, where you slowly begin to see the pieces fall into place, where the lies and manipulations start to show themselves for what they are. And when the truth finally comes to light, it's like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. There's a sense of relief, of freedom, knowing that everything that was hidden is now exposed. But there's also a sense of power, because now the truth is in your hands. The control has shifted. The truth, once revealed, has a force of its own. It spreads quickly like wildfire, and there's no way to stop it. It's contagious, unstoppable, and unstoppable. People start talking, questioning everything they thought they knew. Those who once stood by the deceivers now begin to see them for who they truly are. The revelations change everything, and there's nothing the manipulators can do to stop it. They've lost control. The truth has emerged, and once it has, nothing will ever be the same again. Poetic justice, the beauty of the universe's balance. There's something deeply poetic about justice. It doesn't always come in the form we expect, but when it arrives, it's always perfectly timed. It's like watching a storm clear to reveal the sun. It's a moment of clarity, of balance, when everything falls into place. The universe has a way of restoring order, of making sure that the scales are balanced, even if it takes time. And when the forces that sought to destroy you finally face their consequences, you can't help but stand in awe of how perfectly it all unfolds. I remember the moment when I saw it, when I realized that everything, every struggle, every hardship had been leading to this point. The people who had once seemed so powerful, so untouchable, were now crumbling. They tried to control everything, tried to manipulate the narrative, but in the end, the truth was too powerful. And in that moment, I saw the beauty of cosmic justice. It was not about revenge. It wasn't about trying to tear them down. It was about the balance being restored, the scales of justice being set right. Watching them fall was like watching a perfectly choreographed dance. It was inevitable. They couldn't outrun the consequences of their actions. They had sown the seeds of their own destruction. And now, as the truth came to light, they faced the repercussions. But what struck me the most was how graceful it all was. The universe had its own plan, its own way of restoring balance. And in the end, everything came full circle. It wasn't about gloating or feeling superior. It wasn't about taking joy in their downfall. It was about recognizing the harmony of the universe. It was a reminder that no one, no matter how powerful, can escape the laws of cosmic justice. Those who manipulate, deceive, and hurt others will eventually face the consequences. It may take time, it may take years, but in the end, the balance will be restored. And when it happens, it's nothing short of beautiful. There's a certain peace that comes with knowing this. The peace that comes from understanding that no matter how much darkness you face, no matter how much you're tested, the universe will always find a way to bring you back to balance. When you stand in your truth, when you remain authentic to who you are, the universe works with you, not against you. And in the end, it's not about the destruction of others. It's about the restoration of order, the return to harmony, and the unwavering certainty that cosmic justice will prevail. Empowerment through revelation, how the truth sets you free. There's something incredibly liberating about the truth, even when it stings at first. It's like stepping into the light after being trapped in a dark room for far too long. You've been kept in the shadows, manipulated into believing things that weren't true, led to question your own worth. But the moment the truth breaks through, everything changes. You no longer feel bound by their lies, their control, their manipulation. You stand in your truth, and from that moment on, everything shifts in your favor. I remember the first time the truth fully sank in for me. It wasn't just a single revelation, but a series of moments where the pieces began to fall into place. I had spent so long second-guessing myself, doubting my worth and questioning my path, that when the truth came to light, it felt like a breath of fresh air after suffocating for years. The lies that had been told about me, the stories that had been crafted to paint me as the villain, suddenly they lost their power. It was as if they had no foundation anymore. All their carefully spun webs were now exposed, and the lies could no longer hold me back. This wasn't just about the truth being revealed. It was about me realizing my own strength in the process. The more I understood about the people who had tried to manipulate me, the more I saw their insecurities, their fear, and their desperate need for control. They weren't as powerful as they seemed. In fact, they were trapped in their own web of deceit. The moment I saw through it all, I knew I could never go back to that place of self-doubt. The truth had set me free, and nothing could take that away. And this is where the real empowerment comes in. Once you're freed from the lies, once you see the full picture of what's been happening behind the scenes, you begin to realize that the only thing holding you back all along was the illusion of their power over you. It wasn't real. Their control was an illusion, a construct designed to make you feel small, helpless, and powerless. But in reality, they were just as fragile as anyone else. And the moment you step into the light of truth, you realize that the only person who can ever limit you is yourself. Now, I know it's not always easy to embrace the truth. It's uncomfortable at first. There's fear, anger, sadness, and confusion. But let me tell you this, every single emotion you feel when the truth comes to light is part of your healing. It's all part of shedding the layers that no longer serve you, of breaking free from the chains that have held you captive for so long. It's painful, but it's also freeing. And once you've embraced the truth, nothing can hold you back. You walk forward, knowing that no one can ever silence you again. No one can ever take away your power. You are free. The moment the truth sets you free, you begin to see the world in an entirely new way. You realize that you no longer have to play by anyone else's rules. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. The only thing you need is your own truth, your own belief in yourself. That's what makes you unstoppable. So, let me ask you, how do you feel when you step into the light of your truth? Do you feel the weight lifting off your shoulders, the freedom flooding in? This is your moment, your time to shine, and there's no one who can take that away from you. The final transformation, the chosen ones ascend. The journey from victim to victor, from being manipulated to standing in your full power, is nothing short of transformational. It's as if you're shedding the skin of who you once were to emerge as someone new, someone stronger, someone who can no longer be controlled. The moment you fully step into your truth, you begin to ascend to a level you never thought possible. When I look back at my life before all of this happened, I can't help but smile at the person I used to be. I was lost, unsure, constantly questioning myself and my worth. I thought I needed the approval of others to succeed. I allowed myself to be manipulated, to be dragged down by the weight of others' false perceptions. But now, I stand before you as someone who has fully embraced their power, someone who knows who they are, and more importantly, someone who knows what they're capable of. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It took time, effort, and a lot of self-reflection. But every step of the way, I could feel myself becoming stronger, more confident, and more in tune with my purpose. The more I learned about myself, the more I realized that I was always destined for something greater. I wasn't just meant to survive the trials I had faced, I was meant to rise above them, to use them as stepping stones to something higher. And this is the point of no return. Once you've fully embraced your truth, once you've shed the old layers and stepped into your power, you are no longer the person you once were. You are transformed. You have ascended. For many of you, this transformation has already begun. You've felt the pull, the calling, that you were meant for something more than what you've experienced so far. You've felt the weight of the world trying to hold you down, but you've also felt the energy pushing you to break free, to rise above it all. You are the chosen ones, the ones who have been through the fire and come out stronger, the ones who have faced adversity, betrayal, and manipulation, only to stand tall in the face of it all. This ascension is not just about personal success. It's about tapping into a higher vibration, one that aligns you with the universe's true purpose for you. It's about unlocking your potential, not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone around you. You are here for a reason, and now, more than ever, the world needs your light. So what does this transformation look like? It looks like standing confidently in your power, unapologetically pursuing your dreams, and knowing that nothing can stop you. It looks like walking into rooms knowing that you belong, that you have a purpose, and that the universe is supporting you every step of the way. It's the confidence that comes with knowing that you are unstoppable, that you are a force of nature, and that nothing can hold you back. And let me tell you, when you begin to ascend, the world begins to shift with you. Opportunities open up that you never thought possible. Doors that once seemed closed suddenly swing wide open. People who once doubted you now stand by your side, eager to support you as you rise. And the best part, this is just the beginning. Your journey has only just begun, and the heights you are destined to reach are beyond anything you can imagine. Conclusion: standing in your truth. So here we are at the end of this journey. You've made it through the darkness, Through the betrayal, the manipulation, the doubts, you've uncovered the truth, embraced it, and watched as the lies that once held you back began to crumble. And now you stand in your truth. This is the moment when everything changes. This is the moment when you fully embrace who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. This is the moment when you realize that the only thing that ever held you back was the illusion of their power over you. Standing in your truth means embracing all of you, the light and the dark, the victories and the struggles, the moments of doubt and the moments of clarity. It means knowing that you are enough, just as you are, and no one can ever take that away from you. As you move forward, remember this: the truth is your power. It's the foundation upon which you will build the rest of your life. And no matter how hard they tried to break you, no matter how much they tried to control the narrative, you stand stronger than ever. You are the chosen one, and this is your time to shine. As you step into your truth, know that you are walking the path of your destiny. Every step you take from here on out is a step toward the life you were always meant to live. So walk with confidence, walk with power, walk with the unwavering belief that the universe is on your side, guiding you toward greatness. The journey isn't over, not by a long shot, but now you walk forward in the light of your truth. And that, my friend, is the most powerful thing in the world.